If you've ever solved a Rubik's Cube, you know that, there are specific ways to turn it. And if you make the turns too quickly, sometimes it gets jammed, and you have to wait, and you have to reset it, and you have to start again. That's kind of how I feel like the student brain works. It's almost like a system of gears that turn. So I know, my schedule, my mornings, I have, choir, I have a free period, I have a band class. So, I'm using that specific area of my brain. It's going well, but then all of a sudden I have to turn and I have to do history, and then I have to cram all of my real core learning into the end of the day. So I learn history for 40 minutes, and then I learn physics for 40 minutes, and then I learn geometry for 40 minutes. And it's almost like the gears in my head are getting caught, and they're rubbing up against each other, because my mind, and when I say my or me, I'm referring to any student that has trouble or difficulty switching from subject to subject. It becomes hard to just transfer your knowledge between subjects, and your brain doesn't want to do it. It wants to focus on one thing for a long time.
Consider what it would be like if your job was organized like the work students do in a typical American high school. When you arrive at the office, you're seated at a desk and you start working. Then 45 minutes later, somebody rings a bell and says, "Jump up, you've got to go to your next job." So you run to another desk in another part of the building with a new boss who has different rules and different expectations, a whole different agenda for you to accomplish. And you sit down and you try to figure out how to do the job for 45 minutes, and another bell rings. Then you jump up to another part of the building and do another job for another boss with different rules and expectations for 45 minutes. And you do this 7 or 8 times during the day.
I hope to see education become more individualized. Right now, things are too broad, and have it become a little more intimate and a little more specialized, and maybe in a field of study.
I think that we teach way too many subjects and we cover way too much material, and the end result is that students have a very superficial knowledge, as we often say, a mile wide and an inch deep, and then once they leave school, almost everything's been forgotten. And I think that school needs to change to have a few priorities and to really go into those priorities very deeply.